Let's get ready to ramble, my friends. We are here today discussing the news of the week that we missed, and also some news that just broke as we sat down here to record on this lovely Thursday morning. Um, yeah, out the gate, some big news. So, we are attempting this new show format here where we kind of round up a lot of the news stories that we missed out on throughout the week because, we can't make an individual video for every single news story, but we can round up some of the topics, kind of present them as a weekly show or something like that. If you guys like it, once again, this is all based on if you guys like it. If you guys don't like it, let us know that. If you do like it, you want to see more, let us know that, and we're trying to make sure that we're providing y'all with the content that you want to watch and listen to. And also, before we jump into the actual show, I do want to warn everyone. This is a test stream, a test recording, because I just installed new internet at my house. I got the Starlink internet, and yeah, yesterday
It's
we tried it.
been a lot of fun already, guys, because this is technically, if we're being 100% transparent, this is what test four in
Oh
total.
yeah, and the internet has bricked every single time. The crazy thing is like my speeds, downloads, uploads are like 5 times faster than they were before, but it seems the consistency, there's some variables in that consistency that I'm not too thrilled with so far. But I repositioned it, made sure there was no obstructions as the app likes to inform you over and over again with. So I've been moving it around, dragging that damn thing out into the middle of my yard, just praying that nobody steals it. It doesn't get picked up by a fucking eagle or some shit.
Oh,
Fucking
that'd make just the perfect cherry on top to this cascade of shit.
because it really is just a little box that just sits like it's not big at all. I don't think an eagle could actually pick it up. It's somewhat heavy, but like it's not that heavy. You could pick it up with like just if I'm thinking in eagle physics here, you could probably pick it up with 2 fingers. You know what I mean? Like a human could probably grab it and like hold it with 2 fingers. So it's not like a heavy device at all. It doesn't require 2 hands to move that thing around or anything. It's interesting. So we'll see how it goes, man. I'm praying that everything goes well. I'm praying that we find a solution because the audio, there was just too much fucking popping and too much fuckery on my end. My audio quality was dipping every single time we recorded. And I know probably most people were like, yeah, it's fine, dude. Don't stress it. That's what happens whenever you're having a remote podcast, especially when we're fucking 100 million miles away from one another. But, um, it is the thing where I don't want to, I want to make sure the shit that we're putting out there to you all is as good as possible. And I don't have many internet options available to me. So Starlink, you got to come through for me, man. You got to come through for me. So this is a test recording. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully it goes well and this will be up and available for all of you to watch.
Wipes
Jeepers
brow.
creepers.
Wipes brow. I mean, we made it this far last time. I think it only started breaking around the 5 minute mark, so we just got to break that 5 minute mark.
Here we go, guys. Here we fucking go. Um, so yeah, let us know if you like the news format like this. Definitely let us know. But how about we go ahead and get into this shit, man? Because we got a big breaking news story for us here today, out the gate. As soon as we rolled in here, this story broke. Microsoft is raising the prices of all of its Xbox Series X consoles, and Xbox games are confirmed to hit $80 this holiday season. So this is coming from IGN. Says in an announcement today, the company said it will be raising prices on Xbox consoles, controllers, headsets, and some games. The price hike for consoles and accessories kicks in today, May 1st. And while game prices will stay the same for now, we should expect to see Xbox charging $80 for new first-party games around the holiday season. Price increases are taking effect globally with the exception of headset prices, which are only going up in the US and Canada. And pretty much all of their consoles are going up about $100 or around $100. So the Series X went from 499 to 500. The Series S, the 1 terabyte went from 349 to 429. Um, yeah, so pretty much $100, around $100 price increase, or your local equivalent. So pretty much base console, 499 to 599. And we can get into all of this. The console pricing I kind of think is somewhat irrelevant. Like it's not that I think it's irrelevant because you do want people to get in and buy your hardware, but people are just not buying the hardware. You know, people have not been buying the Xbox hardware for a long ass time. So if you can just get a little bit more money out of whoever's going to buy it, the few million people left that'll buy it throughout this generation, if there's even a few million people left, um, that's whatever. But the game pricing, the following Nintendo's footsteps for the $80 games. That's the
Uh,
thing that bums me out.
yeah, I give a mild pause to that because I don't think they're 100% to blame. They're just 99% to blame. This is obviously the first generation where games went up in price at all because they went from 60 to 70. It was and was it NBA that took that first step?
Yeah, but hold up. First generation so games were like 39.99 PS1, then went
Oh no,
to
I'm talking
40.
about like in recent memory, not
Oh,
like
okay,
adult,
okay,
not in the
okay.
whole picture. I'm talking about recent this
Okay.
generation. They were the ones that took that first step forward and were like, yeah, 70 because they're next gen because they
Yep.
loved floating that buzzword around, which gave them the justification, and people were kind of like, grumbled about it, but it's like, okay, if you're really gonna like give us a next gen experience and stuff like that, then people were swallowing it fairly well. And I think the thing that makes people uncomfortable, myself included, is that they've then Nintendo's come in and gone, okay, 80 then for some titles, and it's like, but what's your excuse? Like, what is your justification then? Because like I get that, games are getting more expensive to make and stuff like that, but you still see massive profit. When people are shifting millions and millions of copies, all that's going to do is pile more millions on. Like it's not eating into the red for you, if that makes sense. Am I making sense there? Like it's not
No,
that
totally.
this not going to impact you in the way that you're claiming that it is. Um, so that's what gives me kind of like hesitation, and we knew this was going to happen. We said
Yep.
it with that price increase. People will just follow after that because they're not the one to fall on the sword. This is what we see
Exactly.
happen constantly in the industry, and it's usually Microsoft that is doing this stupid shit first, where they do something very anti-consumer or do something where it upsets people, and then others follow suit. So it's kind of weird to see Nintendo do that, going from being fairly painted the good guys last generation with the Switch. It was fairly well received. It didn't really have much negative buzz around it. There were people like you and me where it didn't click with us, but I don't think we hated it per se, as in like, oh,
No.
it's a terrible system. It's just not for us. Um, so for me, it's just kicking off on a negative note. Like the live stream that we sat there and watched, it wasn't good for me personally. It didn't invest me. It didn't sell me on it. There was a lot of very low bars set, and people seem to be happy with it. And it's like, okay, cool, if that's for you. But the thing that annoyed me the most was that price increase of games because I know that if they would have waited till GTA came out, maybe GTA could have taken that 80 slot instead.
That's a big
And
thing here.
that's the thing that's annoying me because it's like they're playing their cards so close that we don't know a release date. They're scaring everybody away from the holiday seasons for the most part. Like there's a few of them that have dug their heels in, but for the most part, there's, oh, we need to get it out in September and stuff like that, or August, and we need to get it out before that. So it's just a worry as to what they're going to do with that information. Then are they going to be like, well, if they're justifying 80, we can justify 90, 100, 110.
Exactly.
Like the sky's the limit because they've pumped the most amount of money into their game where there would be a level of justification there,
Yep.
unfortunately. And that's what hurts.
Yeah, it's the thing where you look at a lot of those Nintendo games and you're like, wait, I'm paying $80 for that. And I know everybody is going to have their own different, benchmarks where it's like, well, I'm going to get 400 hours out of Mario
Yeah.
Kart. And that's the thing. I don't mind. Anybody can spend their money however the hell they want to spend their money. And I don't blame anyone for valuing something more than others.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do blame is companies for like I don't want to spend more money. Like I'm never going to praise price increases. Like I don't
No.
that's never going to be a thing where I'm championing that. And like I think the thing with Xbox, which is really interesting about them raising prices specifically, is the Game Pass equation. Because I assume this means we're going to get a price increase to Game Pass. That was inevitable. It's going to keep on increasing and increasing and increasing um, until it's just to the point where, either you're getting your money's worth for your $49.99 a month subscription. I don't know if it'll quite get to that, but I feel like without a doubt we're going to get, because we're at 20 now pretty much. I feel like we're going to get
I think
close to 30
I
for,
think it will cap out at 30. I think
yeah,
unless they add like another additional level of features to justify a big bump, I think what they'll do is justify like the because in our mind we still it still is weird to think about games not being 60 anymore. I don't know if you still like sometimes get caught up in that. So in our
totally.
mind, the way that we're processing that is, oh, it's half the price of a game if it goes up to that, and you're getting a
Yep.
game each month. Okay, that's easy to swallow per se. So yeah, it's obviously you said like around about 20. I think
Hmm.
it's a tactic. They're going to raise the prices of it and the games, of course, to funnel more people into it because they're just trying to get as many people into it because that is just sustained income. That's not rolling a dice really each month because very few people like unsub out of a service. It's very rare for that to happen. So they just want to pull more and more people and make it as alluring as possible. Because with them, what's his name? Is it Destin or Dustin Liguri?
Uh, yeah, Destin Liguri,
He posted on Twitter, I think it was yesterday, where it was the breakdown reports, right? Did you see that? Of all
where
the
their
stuff,
hardware's falling and
the
their
hardware
services are
and
kind of going up a little bit.
the it's a little bit misleading on the Game Pass thing because I don't think we saw particularly. I don't even know if there was an increase in the console Game Pass side of things. It was heavily PC
Yep.
side of Game Pass where that saw a massive spike. And when I mean massive for them. It's not like 200%, 100%. Like it was a good. I think it was like 15% increase around about then, 10 to 15%. So that's a good bump for them. And if they can keep that up, that's really good because
Yep.
that's what you want. You want any form of percentage that you're gathering, just take that win. And this is why they're not going to feel the repercussions of the hardware price going up because no one's buying the hardware. It's
Yeah, the
down.
hardware is irrelevant. Yeah.
So to a lot of people, they're if they do end up grabbing it, they don't have a bunch of people screaming in their ear that oh it's gone up because no one is interacting with that to begin with. So it's
Yeah,
kind of beneficial to them.
it's actually really interesting when you think about it from that angle, just because of how much they're focusing on PC and PlayStation. And this will directly impact PC and PlayStation more so than Xbox users, because Xbox users are going to have Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
But PC and PlayStation, like most PC players are still just going to buy their shit on Steam. We've seen that time and time again. Um, And with PlayStation, you don't have the option for Game Pass. So the $80 price increase is directly affecting PlayStation and PC players. And then, the few people who buy games on Xbox, Loon and like five other people. um,
Hey, there was 20
I,
of us that bought Claire Obscure. 20 of us still holding strong.
I really do. The thing you said earlier is a point to really hammer home, though, about the price increases for this generation. Listen, man, we have had two price increases in one generation now. That's never happened before for individual games. Like we have gone from 60 to 70 and now 70 to 80. So prices have gone up $20 for games. And I don't want to hear this thing of like, oh, this isn't the standard. Yes, it is. Like now the two of the three console manufacturers have set the precedent for $80 games. You're telling me PlayStation's not going to follow at some point, which kudos to them for Yotai being 70. Like that's fucking awesome. And if we can have more power players stay at that $70 range, then we can actually make some sort of argument of like, hey, no, it it's not, this isn't the fucking standard. And hopefully Grand Theft Auto 6 will be that game. It stays at 70 and then it's like, okay, listen. They put $2 billion into development for this thing, development and marketing, and they're charging 70. All of you other fuckers have to charge 70. But that's
That
not going to
would
happen.
that would be so hilarious if they just dropped it at 70, just to black eye everybody and just put it to bed. But
It'd be a
there's yeah,
massive fuck you to the
there,
industry.
there would be no way that they don't need to land brownie points.
No.
So yeah, if anything,
Yeah.
as we've said time and time again, they'll probably be the person to walk over people and set that new goalpost.
Yep.
Because like you said with it, just to revisit it one last time, people being, oh, it's the standard and stuff like that. When you look back, I don't know, what, late generation 360, you were talking for 80, it was the whole game and all additional content that came with that game, the season pass. You're talking 80 to just get in the door now, and
Yes.
it's 120, 130 for some cases of games to get all the content. Like there has to be a line that gets drawn, guys.
Yeah.
Like this is insane. You've yeah, something needs to be said because it's just
And
crazy.
I agreed, man. And I see people saying, well, gaming's an expensive hobby. Gaming's a luxury hobby. And I'm like, oh, man, I thought gaming was supposed to be for like normal people. You know what I mean? Like it felt like gaming has always been kind of for normal people. And I'm not saying you go out and buy everything like we do. We're maniacs. We put way too much money into this hobby. We love this hobby. We're massive enthusiasts for this hobby. But,
No, what
you
gave you
know,
that idea?
right. But I don't want to like when we've done the whole thing where we exposed ourselves as hypocrites. You know what I mean? We did a whole video talk. Like there are games we'll pay $80 for, but like it's that's really never going to be the point of any of this of what we're talking about. We're never sitting here. We are not going to fucking sit here and try to justify and advocate for any of this. Like it's just not like that. I don't understand why so many people in the media space often seem so pro corporation. And like that's uh, dude, that is not I'm not saying our job. Like you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. It's your platform. Speak however you want to speak. But like I am I don't know. I I just can't sit here and advocate for something that is this seems crazy. A $20 price increase for standard edition of video games in one console generation. Like that's just yeah, it's insane. It's insane. And this is to me this is it. Like this this is everything. Because at first I was like, "Oh, when I saw Yotai at 70, I was like, "Ooh, okay." So not everybody is following Nintendo, but this pretty much now that two of them did it, everyone is going to do it.
It's the thing that's it was probably already set in stone in writing and stuff and with document, and when you lay your plan out of to how you're going to deliver the game and you're distributing it all and you're printing it all and it's all taken into account on the books, is why I think that's probably because if they would have not had that release dates like penned in, it wouldn't have surprised me if they pushed it up to 80 for Yota. If it was
They
like a
didn't
next year
though.
release. No, but I'm
Oh,
saying
okay. I
if it
see what
was
you're
a
saying.
next year release, because it's all landed in these weird moments and stuff. And this is why because with Xbox, like they don't really care about physicals and stuff. It doesn't bother that they're able to maneuver and be flexible, and that's what they want. They
Yeah,
they they don't have to take into consideration a lot of like physical print costs anymore because they could just move whatever they want with a slider, and it doesn't really affect them. But yeah, I hope Sony will hold out, but I don't think they will. I think that
no.
Yotai will be that last one where it's of goodwill, and then it's just like by the time next year comes around, you're seeing third party titles asking for that money, and then it's kind of like, well, no one's gonna grumble about the PlayStation when they bump it up because it's just following suit. And this is the thing. This is
1000%.
how this industry functions, and they love it. They love it. They happily sacrifice pawns because something that made me laugh the other day is I can't remember how it. Sorry to like obviously completely veer this off, but it made me laugh about somebody made a comment on. Do you remember when Diablo 3 was always on, always online connection server based, and the Xbox One's launch, and how unfathomable that was, and people were so angry about it, and now online dependency for most titles is just a given. You know, you're having Assassin's Creed Shadows releasing. You can't play that offline. You need internet to plug it in just once, yeah, given, and then you can play it offline, but you still need that independent, like, it needs the internet dependency. And it's
Oh,
just people just, it's just become normal.
yeah,
This
and
is how it
people,
always goes.
the new updated PlayStation, the PS5 Pro is online dependent. You have to have some sort of online connectivity to activate the console, and then from that point you can play it offline. But like, yeah, that's still DRM. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But yeah, man. Do you have anything you want to hit on before we jump off of this? To me, I think this is pretty much concrete that if
Yep.
GTA 6 is a bare minimum of 80, and I could see it being 100, and that's kind of the I it's like every I'm looking at our story here. Almost all of our stories somehow connect back to GTA 6 in some regard. It's to the point where even normal people like us, normal. I don't think either of us are quite normal, but somewhat normal people like us. We're not the ones doing the conspiracy boards for GTA 6, but even now
You,
we're at the point where we're drawing conspiracy boards
it's
for GTA 6.
the thing is I don't know if it's per se conspiracy. It's something. It's such a huge entity you can't ignore it. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Like you get these things that happen in the industry, and it's just something that you can't ignore.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is unfortunately just going to be constant conclusions drawn and parallels of lines drawn to GTA 6 throughout all of this year, I imagine, and it's just
Yeah.
unavoidable.
Well, do you want to start drawing our next parallel as we talk about Ghost of Yotei? Yotei. I gotta remember Yotei. I've seen so many people be like, "Hey, you fucking assholes! It's Yotei, not Yotai," and I keep calling it Yotai, so I apologize. Ghost of Yotei. So this is another one where this is kind of a big reason I want to. I hope people really like this format, because this is a story that really bummed me out that we just didn't have time to talk about.
Mm.
I mean, this is a big game that's releasing, and it got an official release date randomly, just on a random Wednesday. I think it was a Wednesday, just dropped a trailer, and it's like, hey, here's your release date. No state of play, no showcase, but hey, October
Ooh.
2nd.
Sorry to interject quickly.
Hit me.
Isn't it weird? Because I'm saying this because you use the exact word state of play. Isn't it bizarre that they gave an entire state of play to Borderlands 4 instead of this game? What's up with that?
Well, that they do that whenever, so they do that for like they did it with Hogwarts. They do it for a lot of their third party partners, and I assume whenever Ghost of Yotei gets closer, because whenever like say a month before Horizon Forbidden West, they'll do a big state of play. A month
I'm.
before Spider-Man,
I mean, yeah, but we're talking about in years past when they were like firing on all cylinders, so it kind of made sense that you had like breathing room. Like they've been fairly quiet this year. It's kind of like a sleeping giant thing almost. And I assume it's going to do obviously very well. It's just I find it very bizarre that they wouldn't try to generate hype, especially when you're having like news buzzing around that Xbox is doing well and with the Nintendo doing dips with what they're doing and stuff. Like, isn't it your turn to like try and steal some of that show
well, I
directed
think
back towards you?
I think you make a good point in terms of I don't think it's time now to have a full full Yotei state of play. But I think the fact that this is not in a showcase or state of play like as a one last thing
Mm.
or just a opening, like I think that we're definitely starved of showcases. There's no doubt about that. We have not had a good showcase since like 2021, and we have not had a showcase at all since 2023. And it is, like you said, it's just due to the fact that PlayStation, they dropped the ball this generation with their live service pursuit. And a lot of their studios, Naughty Dog wasted 4 years of their time. Insomniac wasted a lot of time on that Spider-Man live service thing.
Hmm.
Bluepoint wasted a ton of time on that God of War live service thing. Sony London is now closed. You can go on down the line. Sony Bend wasted a ton of time on their live service game that got canned. Like you can go down the line of that's why we're not having showcases because of total ineptitude, total mismanagement from leadership at PlayStation. And I hope to God that none of the remnants of what, you know, I hope there are no remnants of prior leadership in Yotei. I hope that that game is clean, polished, no remnants of weird live service shit. Because you remember we were playing Veilguard, and you're like, ooh, you
Yeah,
can
you
see
could.
some live service, like looty shit that they pulled and cut from a live service game
It's
and then
what
poured back into the single player game.
it's what gave me pause of worry is when we've not touched upon it because it was in. I'll let you lay that found work and then I'll finish off that fault because we've obviously not technically talked about this yet, but we have talked about it. If that makes sense.
Well, motherfucker, you just threw me for a loop. Now that's another piece of the GTA 6 conspiracy board. We haven't talked about it, but we have talked about it. But if we talk about it too much, then sometimes. Now,
No,
what
I
the
meant
fuck are
we
you talking
covered.
about?
No, I meant we covered this news story already technically, but it never got put out, right? So
Oh,
that's what I
okay,
mean.
okay,
Is I was
okay.
about to because we've talked about it, so it
Right,
feels
whenever we had
natural
the
to like bring that back up, but we haven't yet. So
okay.
I'll wait. I won't
No,
spoil stuff like I have done in the past. I'll wait like a good guy.
genuinely, bro, my brain is mush at this point. So if I'm being completely honest with you, Loon, this feels like the first time we've recorded this because I completely forgot everything we said the last time. I spent fucking 88 hours trying to position a fucking stupid Starlink system at the sky so that the satellites can radiate down some internet juice onto it. So go ahead, take it away, man.
um, you were talking about the live service aspects of like linking it in with Veilguard, right? And
Hmm.
you can kind of see that there was at some point Veilguard was either a full live service game or it had that incorporated in to its backbone. And what the information for Yotei that come out was that they're going for like a target based system, kind of like how Assassin's Creed did it. So it's not a narrative that has a definitive quote unquote beginning, middle, end, like you would with like The Last of Us as a perfect like counter example. Where you go through The Last of Us, it's a narrative driven experience, and you're kind of just led on your way. With the announcement of Yotei or Yotai, however the hell you say it, I don't remember which one you said. I'll just say
Yote.
both. Um, they're going down that whole Assassin's Creed route of, you can. There's what 6 targets they said in
Yep.
total, 6 targets, and you can tackle it in any way that you want. And that's the kind of thing when you were talking about, obviously the live set, but like, why are you going down that route? That route is so 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 difficult to get right, and very few games make a story melded out of that and make it fit.
Hmm.
Because when I'm thinking
Hmm.
of like games that did it well, it was like Far Cry 5, but that's because you're not. Far Cry 5 is more about chaos,
Right.
much more than delivering a story because you're then, when you're actually in them moments with the story, I don't know, that it wasn't terrible, but it's not like this isn't what's keeping you in the game to see what's happening. That's not pushing you forward. It's I want to clear more camps or I want to go blow this up or I want to go fly a helicopter. Like it kind of has that GTA itch where it's just
I was just about to bring that up,
yeah.
GTA, because that's another example.
Yeah. And that's what I mean of like, yeah, because GTA does that with their mission structure. You don't have to, obviously, there are parts of
Yep.
the game where it forces your hand, but then it can, when you're beginning GTA San Andreas, it scatters free names on your map. Go do it whichever way you want and stuff like that. So I don't know. There are ways to do it for sure. But I think this is the thing of when it's been done linear in the first game, and it did it so well for the most
So
part.
well.
and then you're going to do a massive DNA shift, you're going to end up potentially doing a Veil Guard. I'm not saying like all of the controversy that also spiraled with that push that to the side, guys. Let's not. I'm saying from a structure, story based,
Yeah.
where it gets kind of messy, and it's kind of like I'm interested seeing how they execute it more so than
Yeah.
anything, because we know the gameplay is going to be fun. You know that I didn't finish Ghost of Tsushima, but I liked the art direction was incredible. Music and
Well,
visuals were so jaw dropping. Voice acting was incredible. Story was great for the most part. I think it there were certain bits where it wobbled, but
yeah.
it's to be forgiven. I kind of get what they were trying to do, and then the gameplay was amazing. And that's kind of like, ooh, can you if they do wobble on that narrative, which is what Sony first party studios really hammer home, that's their identity. That's what sets them apart from Nintendo, which doesn't really have that. Xbox that doesn't really have that. This is usually premier titles. Can they get away with it?
Yeah. And you bring up such a good point with Grand Theft Auto because I never even thought about Grand Theft Auto in that context of GTA technically can be played out of order, and then they structure an order around your order, if that makes sense. Like there's a point where it's like,
Yeah, it's like
okay, you
a
do these.
branching spider web that leads back in, and then a branching spider web that leads. It's kind of like that.
So do you think there's any chance that these six targets, you take them out and you can do that in any order, and then it leads to a more complete linear beat to beat story? Or do you think the entire story is going to be these six targets?
Oh, I think the entire story will be them six targets. The thing that there will obviously be little nuggets spreading because it showed like them as a child, or something like a younger version towards the end of the trailer and stuff. The thing that I hesitate is that I'm hammering home. It only kind of because it's such a chaotic way of telling a story. It only benefits of being in a chaotic game. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Like it fits in Far Cry and it fits in GTA because it's so sandbox esque. Is like Tsushima isn't sandbox esque,
not
really.
really. Not really.
Like
There's not
it
a
has
lot of interactivity.
elements that draw comparisons to sandbox, but that's what I mean. Like I think it could suffer a little bit and be. It's not going to drag the product down entirely. I want to make that like 100% clear. This is still Sucker Punch, even when great teams kind of wobble a little bit. They do shine through in many aspects, and you can appreciate what they actually end up nailing. And I think they will nail most of the stuff. I think it's just going to be the thing where Yotei will be like, ah, the story's kind of eh.
Yeah, I think that's definitely if there is going to be a glaring weakness, it's probably going to be the narrative. And I think that you would probably say the same about the original, but the original had a really good story. Um, I'm pulling up my favorite Twitter account here, Shinobi602, always does these great breakdowns on Twitter for games, and I want to shout out real quick a couple things from here. Is that along with the six targets, there's also going to be other like dangerous bounties you can go out and claim, and a weapon sensei to learn and master different weapon maneuvers and different abilities. So that kind of reminds me of some Sleeping Dogs energy a little bit, where you go to the dojo and you learn the different moves. But here you'll have a sensei who's teaching you everything. And yeah,
Mm.
it says that they're going to build upon Ghost of Tsushima and evolve how you explore the world with more freedom and variety than past Sucker Punch open world games. So yeah, it is to me. I think it's going to be a great game. Like Sucker Punch, in my opinion, has never made even a. I don't think they've ever even made like an average game. They've made nothing but good to great games. So I expect nothing less here. But yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about that narrative structure. No doubt about it. I like a more handcrafted narrative where the one thing you do leads to the next thing you do, and all of that has story context, and all of that has a payoff and an arc that matters in the order that you do things. But at the same time, I'm totally open to what they're trying.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong though, because what I'm it's trying to dig up the memories of the last time I played it. They kind of, I guess, had that mission structure in Ghost of Tsushima, right? Because it would spawn a lot of people. You would have like the introduction, and then it would spawn icons on the map, and then you can do it whatever way you want. Because you'd have like the blacksmith, the woman, some teacher guy, and I remember them being like all over the map. It wasn't the fact like it wasn't because I was obviously drawing comparisons to like The Last of Us, which is constantly pushing you in one direction. It doesn't let you really veer off. Last of Us 2, it lets you in certain areas have that little bit of open, but for the most part, when it's in them, let's push the narrative forward. There's no exploration really. It's
Yeah.
fairly linear, so it does
But
have icon based kind of exploration.
yeah, you definitely have that, but it was still like main story beat to next main story beat. It wasn't the thing where like if this is what you were assuming and predicting, which I would venture to put money on that as well. Like if I had to put money on it, I would think you're probably right that the six targets are going to be the main story. Like that's going to be the entirety of the main story.
Mm-hmm.
If that is the case, then that's like literally
Yeah.
no structure. It's Assassin's Creed. You know
No,
what I
yeah.
mean?
I just wanted to make sure that I covered because I didn't want to sound ignorant in the fact that they didn't have like icons that would also be over Tsushima and stuff because it kind of like pinged into my head like no they did have that kind of structure. It's not as they are a lot better at handling the narrative than say Shadows did, where Shadows just
Totally.
spat. It was like filling a your mouth full of water and just spitting it at a map, and then wherever the droplets land is where all them missions would spawn.
Yeah, 1000%, man. Um, well, dude, if you don't have any other thoughts on that one, I guess we can unfortunately head into a not the greatest story in the world that we're going to be covering here next. And that is in regards to, oh, did you have anything else you wanted to hit on with Yotei before we move on?
No, I think I hope that it obviously lands for people. I hope it does well for PlayStation and gets them back on the track because boy they be wobbling.
Yeah. Well, speaking of wobbling, Platinum Games is seemingly hiring for another online action game.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Um,
Learn your lesson,
so
guys. Stay in your lane. My God.
that's That's the funny thing. The headline of this VGC article reads, the company's CEO told VGC back in 2022 that the disastrous launch of Babylon's Fall hadn't affected its live service plans. Well, here we are. So let me read this real quick. The listing as spotted by Tech for Gamers is for a game designer for an upcoming new title, suggesting it's still in the early stages of development. While the majority of the job listing from the Bayonetta studio features the typical requirements expected for any game designer role, there are 2 points in the desired skills section that appear to suggest the game will have online elements. According to the listing, the ideal candidate for the role will have experience in online action game development and experience in stage composition, level design work for online or open field games.
Well, not the two
Oh,
fields I would have expected. I would have expected a lack of soul and accepting that they're going to be unemployed in several months would be the two fields for a live server.
it's yeah. So Loon, I'll let you take that away, my friend. Go ahead. This is such a bummer.
As I pan off the trailer, you can see where how I was sitting listening to that news. I just man, I don't understand it. I really don't. I don't understand this like obsession. I get it. It's like chasing gold dust and stuff because when it does hit these live service games, they really do hit. But like, where's the next near game? Where's the next Bayonetta? Like, where are
Yeah.
these that people actually want? Like, people genuinely want these. There's a yearning for them. That's the difference. Is that perfect example? I enjoyed Exoprimal. I wasn't yearning for this fucking game though.
Right.
It just so happened to come out and it's just like, yeah, that's kind of cool. I guess that kills a few hours. I would much rather have from Capcom the next Resident Evil though. And this is the thing of like with Platinum, like I don't you also just don't make good live service games. Like it's been proven, you just don't. Like the Babylon's Fall was bad, really bad, like laughably bad. just make what you're strongest with, because even your strongest games have quirks that a lot of people don't click with. Like Near, for instance, when you said you played a Near Replicant, and it was like, I don't
That
know, like
map.
how is this? How is this considered like one of the greats and kind of that thing? And it's just like, just stay in your lane, man. Just please, because this is gonna sink the company. They do like three more of these, and they're gone.
Yeah. And I think with a lot of that talent leaving, Hideki Kamiya,
Hideki
um,
Kamiya, yeah, was
yeah,
because he was the one who headed Scalebound, right?
yeah, and now he's got his own his old studio back, or not necessarily his old studio back, but a similar name for his old studio. I'm forgetting the name, but they're working on that Okami remake, or is it Okami 2 or is it a remake? My
Whatever it is,
brain
it's
is
something
mush.
they want to be passionate to work on, and I commend them for that.
Yeah, it's Okami 2. My bad, guys. I once again my brain is mush. But yeah, it was revealed at the Game Awards last year, and a lot of other talent. Actually, you know what? As crazy as it fucking I'm not, if I'm not mistaken, today I think I was scrolling and saw another headline that another key member of Platinum recently left. Give me 1 second. Okay, yeah. Astral Chain director and Nier Automata designer
Uh,
Takahishi Tara has finally confirmed his exit from Platinum. Oh, okay. So yeah,
that's a
he
bit misleading. He left the company a while ago. He's just
okay.
that's announcing he's finally landed like a studio, is what it was. I think
Okay.
it might have been last year that he left, or or something along the lines. I can't give like an exact date, but he wasn't at Platinum this whole time. It's just he's found
Okay.
his footing and stuff like that. But the point is, them people that we know, the
Right.
figureheads and the faces, and most importantly, the big T word talent, they are going. The only T word they got over there is Taro, and man doesn't like to work. So uh, it's crazy, man. It really is crazy. They are in a massive identity crisis, and it's so weird to see this happen to like studio after studio. Like you think of like BioWare going through the ringer, Platinum Games going through the ringer, Konami losing like Kojima and stuff. Like, what is like? Why is it so
Hmm.
turbulent as of late?
No.
Like this wasn't. Maybe it's the type of thing where it's like maybe we have our ear to the ground a lot more, and maybe we're keeping our eyes open because we're reporting on the stuff. And but I don't think it was ever this bad. Like you had some instances where it was like complete disasters, like 3D Realms with Duke Nukem Forever and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But they still like kept it together and pushed it out the door and stuff like this. I don't know. It's very bleak feeling.
Well, and I remember I was listening to I believe it's called the Game Business Show, which is headed up by Christopher Dring from gamesindustry.biz, I think. I once again, my brain is
You and
mush
your
today,
business
but
hat, as always.
I
Business
love the
brain.
yeah, I love the business side of gaming. I don't know why. I'm really interested in it. But he had Daniel Vara on the show over there from obviously Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, the I believe lead director, founder of the studio.
Mm,
Um, and he was talking about the fall off of some of these acclaimed, studios from 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And he's like, yeah, he didn't specifically say this, but he's like, yeah, well, a lot of the key guys at BioWare are no longer there. A lot of the key guys at fucking X, Y, and Z studio are no longer there. And Rocksteady or whatever the case may be. And he's like, so we're expecting the same level of quality when the talent, that level of talent is no longer there. And it's not to say people that you have on staff aren't very talented, but there's when you have a Mac Walters or you have a fucking whenever you have like the core of what BioWare was in BioWare's prime, like when you have these guys writing and directing and producing and fucking lead gameplay designers, when all of these like core pieces exit the company, it's fucking but it's also not to say that that doesn't mean that they just go off and spin up greatness on their own either. We
No,
saw that with
this
Callisto Protocol.
that's the thing that always baffles me is that they need each other. These massive entities, publishers, companies, developers, these big bloated masses that have all the money, they also need that it's like a what do you call it? It's just a perfect pairing. They you need them to make the stuff that you need to make and they need the money to make it. It is just that. Because when you see stuff like this with the Callisto and stuff, it had the money. The thing is once when they go independent and stuff like that, and they're having to scrounge, you see it with Remedy, where it feels like they're on the brink of collapse every single time they open their mouth. Doesn't matter how successful they are; these things cost money, and when you want to be you want to keep your image as close to what you want to be delivering on, and you don't want to compromise on any of that. It's yeah, people are going to be willing to give you less and less money because you haven't proven it. And with the stuff with like Callisto Protocol, he had one wobble. I don't. Is that studio even still up?
I think they are, but
Like
they're in
it's on life
shambles.
support.
Yeah.
Like they're not. Yeah, it's just really unfortunate. And I think that's the thing of where. Oh, what was his name? Because you brought up Bioware, David Guider, I believe,
Yeah,
one of the
the
head writers. He wrote the Dragon Age um, stories and stuff like that, and basically built the world lore. And I remember it was either during the development of Dragon Age 2 or like after it come out, around about that time period. He was doing interviews on like they were asking him questions and stuff like that, and he was saying he was feeling forced out of the company. Less and less creative freedom was given to writers, and I can't remember the exact wording, but it was along the lines of we're made to feel like albatrosses, like we're not valued at all. We're kind of just like old people in an old person, so just like basically there, and we're trying to get our vision. And EA is just like, yeah, you don't need to like worry about doing that. We'll just make it more action. You don't need to like write stories and stuff like that. People aren't paying attention to that shit. You know, get out of
right.
here with that. And that's what you saw. You see the end product of that vision to its fruition is that you've pushed all your writers out, and then you get to Veilguard, and it is night and day difference. Like as much as I liked Veilguard, and there are some things shining through where you do have some writers that have stepped up and filled in that void. But that writing quality is nowhere near as good as them opening Dragon Age games because you had the core creator that thought of the vision to begin with, and that was his passion project. So
You
yeah,
know, it's a weird thing too where the Switch 2 we got new hardware on the way and you would really think that Nintendo would contract out Platinum for Bayonetta 4 or for a new Astral Chain or a new IP, something that would really push the hardware, something that like if you because Bayonetta 3, man,
Deadly Premonition
good.
2.
Well, it's because when you see Bayonetta 4 or Bayonetta 3 on the Switch 1, it's like, oh my God, these huge ass fucking, icon battles. I'm using Final Fantasy 16 terminology, but these huge kaiju,
Yeah.
big monster fights and shit. It's like, damn, that is really pushing Switch hardware to its max, man. I'd love to see
How
that.
how good did they sell, do you know? Because that's the only thing that gives me pause is like if they absolutely blew the doors off, Nintendo isn't gonna let that money just sit there like and be uncashed. Like surely
Yeah.
they must have just performed poorly, which is unfortunately because it's obviously perfectly ties back to Platinum. That's kind of their core identity. They get like a good hit every now and then they just don't sell games. Like Vanquish didn't really do all that well, even though it's
Yeah.
pretty highly regarded. Bayonetta itself, the original Bayonetta, it didn't blow the doors off. It didn't compete as closely as you would have hoped to like a Devil May Cry. It was almost there, but it just always felt like it fell short. So yeah. I understand what you're saying. You'd want something a little bit more because that would have got me in the door of like
Right.
interest. It would have piqued my. Been like, I don't really care about Mario Kart. I don't really care about this Donkey Kong stuff. Ooh, platinum. But I think that's why they were looking around and they know they can only really toss their ring onto one. And right now, FromSoft is obviously red hot. So it's
Yeah.
like if FromSoft can't deliver us an exclusive title that's worth playing, then who else? Who else can?
Yeah, for sure. Well, how about a title worth playing to be determined for this next one, my friend? I watched a little bit of the state of play for Borderlands 4. They moved the release date up to September 12th. I'm assuming a lot of people are speculating that release date is to avoid Grand Theft Auto 6, but
It
I
always
think
comes back to Grand Theft Auto 6.
every single fucking story somehow Platinum's issues tie back to GTA 6 as well. But yeah, Borderlands 4, I I watched a little bit of the state of play. A lot of people are I don't think that in my opinion, I don't think that they moved that release date for Grand Theft Auto 6. I think they moved it to get out of the way of Marathon. Um, I think that they wanted to get ahead of Marathon just in case there is some weird scenario where Marathon really pops off. You don't really want to have a Bungie first person shooter and a Gearbox first person shooter launching right around one another, um, just in case. And
That
if you
is
can get ahead,
fascinating. Of like a
what's
line
that?
of that like line of I wouldn't have even ever thought of that myself. But I can when you say it, it's like a comment did that to me earlier, where it's like, man, didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, obviously they tried to hit two completely different fan bases. I don't think there's going to be all that much crossover between the two. One's a single player slash co-op story driven experience, and the other one's more competitive esque.
mhm.
But yeah, that makes a little bit of sense. Oh, Randy, his face.
Yeah. I think that, whenever you look at Ghost of Yotei and its October 2nd release date, um, and then this getting moved up, I think you maybe could draw some fucking conspiracy lines where it's like, okay, well, both of them got released, like,
Mafia as well,
uh,
right? Which is
yeah,
from 2K.
Mafia's
Is
August,
yeah. So that's all of these titles are getting out of that holiday period, which
right?
you wouldn't. And this is the thing it's all speculation because in any other year they would be competing. They would happily go toe to toe with each other
Oh yeah.
for them holiday sales because it's the time of the year where the most amount of copies get shifted. So with it being two 2K titles under that umbrella, whatever it is, um, I don't know. That's why it gives me a little bit like I don't know. It still feels like GTA 6 can come out this year
Yeah.
because if
Yeah.
it was just Mafia, it'd be like, okay, that the Mafia doesn't really sell regardless wherever you put it. Unfortunately, if we're being blunt,
Yeah.
so you probably want to move it away from holiday sales because it's not going to benefit from holiday sales. Um, but to see both of these be pushed forward, it's just strange.
Yeah, and I shouldn't say Yotai was pushed forward.
I was talking
I we
about Mafia and Borderlands under
Oh,
the top
right.
two.
Well, yeah, Mafia, I don't know if that was necessarily pushed forward either, but I think it is kind of the thing where you definitely are leaving November open.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so there's a lot of assumption we could do across the board speculating on Grand Theft Auto 6's release date. If I have to put money on it, I still say 2026. Like they delay everything. But marketing cycles have drastically changed. And maybe it could be the thing where they are going to reveal this game or re-reveal this game for the first time in over a year in a couple months. But Take-Two has their financial earnings call in May, I believe. So coming up really soon, we should get some pretty concrete
Yeah.
information on Grand Theft Auto 6. And it might be Strauss Zelnick might pull the thing again where he says, "Yeah, it's looking like we're full steam ahead planning for that holiday launch." And then maybe he just delays it last minute. That would really fucking suck. I think that probably the move would be to delay it at this financial earnings call if they're going to delay it. I don't know though. I don't know. And I know we're not even talking about Borderlands 4. Everything has to fucking come back to Grand Theft Auto 6. That's my apologies, but um Borderlands 4 doesn't look interesting to me. I
Uh,
don't.
yeah. I'll shed a little bit of positivity on it. Because I have a bias against a certain somebody who's at Gearbox. Um, but the games themselves, they're okay. For me, they've never been anything like breakout special. They're more gimmicky and stuff like that than anything. The most fun I had though was with Borderlands 3. Weirdly enough, I know some people probably find that blasphemous to say. A lot of people had like a lot of love for Borderlands 2. I, it just looks like more of the same. Like if we're gonna sit here and grumble and groan over like Ubisoft kicking out the same thing, I mean, to me, Borderlands 4 looks basically the same as 3. So like, yeah, I'll try it at some point, and that's that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. It's like I look at it and I just don't feel anything. Like it just kind of washes over me. And so immediately whenever I get information about this game, I start thinking to Grand Theft Auto 6 because I don't care at all about Borderlands 4, but I do understand it has an audience. And
We
listen,
wanna talk about it, but we wanna talk about it while being interested. GTA 6, come in, sit down, buddy.
break the Grand Theft Auto 6 glass, and we have broken that thing like 5 times already, so we'll put it back in its container for the rest of the show. Um, Zero chance that I go the rest of the show without mentioning Grand Theft Auto. Dude, like, as it builds, I'm really fucking excited for this thing, and I know that that's like the worst marketing plan in the world, where you got this $2 billion marketing budget, but you just let fans kind of think about all the what ifs, and they build up their own excitement in their head. But I don't know. It's kind of a brilliant marketing strategy, even if it's unintentional.
Yeah, it just sells itself, doesn't it? Because I think we spoke about it before. Of this was off camera, I believe, where I was messaging you around. I think it was around about the Oblivion release date, and I was saying like there could be even a scenario where they just sit on it. They sit on it. They sit on
Shadow
it. They
drop.
sit on it. Sit on it. And then they get to November, and then they turn around and go, "Yeah, here you go," and just drop it.
Bro,
And because
imagine.
and the reason I'm drawing that, and I don't think I'm very, very convinced that's probably not going to happen. But the only credible bit that is like Oblivion didn't suffer, and you think of how smaller of a fan base that has in comparison to the anticipation for GTA 6. Like if you're talking Oblivion comes out and then it does what? It did 250, 300,000 concurrent players like immediately, and they
Jesus.
didn't even like we knew it existed, but we also know GTA 6 exists. And we thought it was a lot more up in the air whether or not Oblivion actually existed than GTA 6. So they could just sit on that, make as much of a clear pile of November as possible. Just sit, and then just be like, yeah, November 14th. There you go, guys. Go play GTA 6. And just they just toss whatever out. And then it would just
Bro,
break the internet.
do you have that Claire trailer on hand
I do.
by chance?
Oh, the Claire
I
trailer
th
or gameplay.
Either one, the gameplay trailer, just something to roll for Claire, because I
Yeah,
think that
we can.
you actually make me want to transition over to Claire Obscure, because I you just hit me with some information that kind of stunned me.
Oh,
Um, I want to pull this up just to make sure, but if that Oblivion remaster, like you said, if that hit 300,000 players, let's see.
it was
Yeah, it hit
around about that.
200. Yeah, it hit
Yeah.
216,000 players 4 days ago.
Yep.
And so Claire, for reference, Claire Obscure peaked at 121,000.
Hmm.
So more than double, right? Or close to double.
Yep.
What was the number for?
It was 220, I think you said.
Yeah, close to 220. So yeah, damn near double the player count for a fucking remaster of Oblivion, opposed to a game that right now I think on Metacritic or for a time period on Metacritic, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 was the number one
Yep.
highest rated user rating for any game in
Mm.
Metacritic's history. Like, it really is insane that a game with no marketing, a game with, definitely not as much critical acclaim, and a fucking old game doubled the game of the year.
It's why when we've talked about it before, because we had a discussion with Moan Dane about this as a topic. This was ages ago, of course. And then we had one recently, and it was me saying about why they don't need these long year dev cycles of people knowing that it's in development is what I mean. Obviously, it's going to take years to make these games, but you don't need to announce these like 3 years in advance. Like for the game to receive and garner success, because Oblivion sold itself. All of its marketing was done by Twitter and people on YouTube because they were speculating. Because all one person needed to do, they dropped a tweet and they were like, "Oh, it's going to release on this day," and it didn't release on that day initially, but that's all it needed. That it
Yeah.
gave them the fuel to run away with it, and then Xbox was just like, "Okay, we'll just sit on this, wait for it to boil, and then drop it." And look what happened. The game didn't suffer at all. If anything, it did probably more good them doing it that way than if they would have dropped a in January like a trailer on the official Xbox thing, because then it leaves people to nitpick and criticize and
Mm,
do all their
mm.
arguing and stuff. Just dropping it in people's laps immediately, just
Impulse.
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, and it's like I think you hit on a great point there where if you drop the trailer, you do the full marketing cycle, then players are going to have questions, then you're going to have to answer those
Mm-hmm.
questions. Players are going to have enough time to develop hesitation.
Yep.
And if you have that impulse purchase, if it's just dropped immediately, people impulse buy it without having the chance to ask questions. Now, there will come a point where if too many games take this route, players will develop
Oh yeah.
you know, th- they'll
Yep.
they'll develop the skeptical eyes and stop buying into shadow drops until a lot of the questions have been answered. And I think some games like I think a Hi-Fi Rush, for example, was probably hurt by a shadow
Yep.
drop where if you marketed that and you actually, because if you have questions for that game, they can actually be answered,
Mm-hmm.
opposed to certain games where it's like, yeah, Oblivion's kind of crashing and stuttering and breaking and patches or breaking it and like all these issues. It's like probably, the game is. I played it. It's still fucking blast. Oblivion's excellent. Always been excellent. But yeah, that is a game that is better to have the impulse factor and less questions asked.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, for sure. For sure.
I think though, it's kind of crazy to think about what the sales are for that. Because if it doubled Clair Obscur, because Clair Obscur just sold 1 million copies in, I believe its first couple days on the market. I think the first 3 days on the market, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm.
So what the hell did Oblivion sell? I mean, uh, gotta assume close to 5 mil by now.
Yeah, that's where you have me like beat with them types of things. I don't have my nose to the ground as much as you for the sales of like early
Yeah.
stuff. But if, like you said, I saw that they posted themselves, Clair Obscur, that they shifted 1 million copies. So there's no way that they've shifted south of that with Oblivion,
No.
because you know it's it came out that it was like ridiculously small amount that shifted it on Xbox because they're playing it on Game Pass. So that's heavily lifted up by PC and PlayStation, which is exactly the same boat that Oblivion is in. That same
Hmm.
exact scenario where you can play it through Game Pass day one. And also on top of that, you're just able to. It's all digital, right? There's no physical for that yet with Oblivion.
Right, that is true. Yep, it's all digital.
So yeah, you only give them one way of doing it. I don't think that harms it either, to be honest, because there's so many people that will just jump in with that impulse. as well of seeing it on that PlayStation store, just booting it up and had no idea, and oh my god, Oblivion, and you go and grab it. So I think
Yeah.
it did them magnitude levels of good.
And I mean, major props to Virtuous, major props to what they're doing in general. Metal Gear Solid 3, this, like they are, and sure, this is having some issues, but hey, it wouldn't be Oblivion if it wasn't having issues. It's, of course, it's gonna have
Absolutely.
issues. Um, but yeah, I cannot wait for Metal Gear Solid 3. Really interesting also, such different marketing positions that the games are in, where Microsoft chose for the Shadow Drop route, where Konami is doing the full marketing campaign with Metal Gear Solid 3. But Claire, Obscure, Expedition 33. I think a big thing too to keep in mind is that's a 30-man team opposed
Mm,
to what's
but
that?
technically yes, technically no. So it,
Outsourcing.
yeah, that's like
Okay.
it's the type of thing of where if we're gonna begin splitting hairs, if we have to shout out Virtuous for doing the Oblivion remake, obviously they didn't make the original game. That's them working on stuff. So if you have to shout that out, I think it's also fair to shout out the entire dev of Expedition 33. So it's like a 30-ish man team of, is it Sandfall Interactive is the developer,
Okay.
and then I think it's 50-ish outsourced. So it's in total there was about 80 people ish. But even
Close
like
to 100.
exactly, it's still worth hammering home praise because you know that's south of 100 devs essentially,
Yeah.
and they achieved that.
And so, I mean, splitting that profit across, even just 80 heads, 100 heads, opposed to, I think Virtuous, and obviously they have different studios working on different games, and they're kind of a work for hire thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they got like 4 or 5 thousand employees under that
Oh
roof. So,
really?
like,
For Virtuous?
yeah.
Holy shit!
They don't fuck around. Virtuous, but it's all that type of remaster, upscaling, like work for hire kind of contract where I don't know about all of it, but a lot of it
Yeah.
is mostly in that regard. They're a big, 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 big fucking studio. So, splitting profit for that 1 million for Claire, opposed to even if it's 3, 4 million, 2 million, whatever for Oblivion. I assume many hundreds more people worked on Oblivion than worked on Obscure. I call it like 80 different fucking names. Claire, Obscure, Expedition 33. But yeah, I mean, Expedition 33. I listen, man. I don't want to say go play this instead of Oblivion, and I guess we can kind of talk about that.
Oh, I
I
happily
that
will. Go play it instead of Oblivion. But no, I get what
yeah,
you mean.
that sucked. In my opinion, that sucked. That
Yep.
that really fucking sucked, man.
Yep.
Because I'm looking at those numbers for Claire Obscure, and I'm like, that's good, but how much better could it have been? And we don't know that. We'll never
No.
know that.
No. I don't think it would have hit that number that Oblivion hit, but I'm fairly certain that it would have reached 100K a lot quicker, and it probably would have tipped a little bit more north of that number in total. Um, it's the type of thing where, because I think we've already spoken about it, right? The one video's gone live on Claire because it was the
Yeah,
monthly
the
rankings.
ranking.
So I think I already voiced my disdain. I said about where it's I have no annoyance and anger directed toward Virtuous, even Oblivion itself, and the success and the fans that are enjoying it is all directed towards Microsoft and the Xbox division. It's just that was such a stupid decision. Like you don't need to drop that where you dropped it. You could
Yeah.
have let it breathe for even just a week. Like let Claire be on the market for a week on its own, and then you could have placed it in between that and Doom, and people would have been happy. But yeah, release it the day before. Great job there, Phil. Good job.
Golly, man. So yeah, I mean, not to we're gonna do a full review on it, but I did end up finishing Clair Obscure Expedition 33 thanks to my good friend Loon here. Um, Loon,
Oh,
you want to
the
tell me?
story. Oh, the story.
You want to tell the good people the advice you had to give me to help me get through the final boss? So, how about this? If there's an extreme difficulty mode, which there is not, somehow I was able to find the extreme difficulty mode before they ever even introduce it. Loon, take it away, the advice you had to give. Your good fucking gray color fucking in the coloring box brain. Jesus, man.
Like, okay. So it was the evening, right, of us doing the tier maker
Yep.
where you hadn't finished it. I'm still in the same spot. I haven't even booted it up since, unfortunately. But you was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go wrap this up. I think I'm at the last hurdle. We got this. Let's go. Let's lock in. And he was like, all right, I'm at the final boss. And then you just kept hitting like roadblock of just, it's just I can't do this. This is ridiculous. Like it's so difficult. And I can't remember like what I was like saying like, oh, maybe like have you tried clearing all your zone elites? Like, can you go back to previous zones and stuff? And then as I was up, because I was actually uploading one of the videos of it at the time, and I was like, make sure like you have you refreshed like your luminas and stuff. And he was like, what the fuck is a lumina? And I was like, what do you mean what's a lumina? It's the you have your pictos and you master them and then you can turn them into luminas. And he was like, dude, really? And it was just like, oh man, that was so funny. And it's because I partially blame myself because when I was talking about it in the tier ranking, I drew the comparison to Lost Odyssey for many of its aspects, and I think I forgot to draw that aspect because they've drawn inspiration from that. Because you have the combat where it's like quick time events, which is what they did in Lost Odyssey as well. But Lost Odyssey also had a ring system kind of thing where and like a skill system where you were learning skills off of something and you could pull them skills to other characters, and that's kind of what the pictos thing is. It's basically a ring slot. You master the ring and then you can pull its passive effect and just stack them all on the characters. And as Brandon alluded to, he hadn't been doing that, so he got to the final boss. Did you even have any equipped? So you hadn't interacted with it at all?
So here's the thing. I guess do you get some of them kind of carry over naturally based on the things that you're using in your Picto slot?
Yeah,
I think I
it applies it automatically.
yeah,
So
so I
whatever
had
you've
some
equipped, it pulls it over to show that it is. Yeah.
yeah, so I had some of those for some of the Pictos I was using, but here's the dumbest thing, Loon. I didn't even tell you this part, so you're gonna love this.
Oh, here
You
we
know
go.
the you know the guy that you go and buy the luminous points from? He's at your camp. So I would go and I would buy all these points. Like I had these points just
Did
stacking
you
up.
not like at any point think what are these? I'm giving
Bro,
this man money. What am I getting? And you're just like, oh, number go up.
do you know what I thought was happening?
I want to hear this. Yeah, go.
I thought that that was leveling up my character. I thought every time I did one of those that my character level was going up. And so I would do that. And because you're leveling up so much, I would do that and then go in and upgrade my character. And I was like, oh, that must be because I just leveled up the Luminous. Luminous must be what my character is upgrading towards. And so I would go in and just apply my upgrades and just go on about my day. I thought that's what all my Luminous points were going towards. And that's the thing. Once again, I'm totally a newbie to this. Like, listen, dude. Well, for one, I'm not the brightest fucking coloring crayon in the box. I'm a dull gray. But also, dude, these turn-based games have a lot of fucking systems.
Oh
There's a
yeah, yeah.
lot of
No, no. It's
micromanaging.
it's it's one of them things where you can look back and laugh at it. But
Yeah.
it's the type of thing where it was like when you were talking, you was like, "Oh, I'm such a dumbass," and it's like, it's a genre that you don't touch. So
Yep.
you're talking to put it into perspective. If anybody wants to try to clown you, like the counter to it is they introduced this system at the beginning of like 100-hour RPG of a game that's full of systems. So they give you a pop up, and then you're obviously trying to process all this other information and trying to
That I
remember
don't
what the fuck's
understand.
going on exactly. So it's like, okay, yeah, luminous. That's a made up word. I don't. Yep, keep. Yep, that number go up. Yep, cool. And then you go, and then because you haven't, it's one of the things where progressed and you didn't have that information, but it didn't hinder you at the time. So therefore, you're not looking for that answer because to you at that moment in time, there is no answer. It just works, as
Exactly.
as Todd
Yeah.
Howard says. It
Well, and
just
that's the thing,
works.
Loon, is I go through the majority of the game and I'm fine. You know, I hit about that 10-hour point and I'm like, okay, well, I'm getting absolutely crushed 10 hours in, so I'm just gonna go and grind. So I just go and level my characters up to level 50, and then I go back through and I'm crushing everything. Not crushing everything, I'm struggling for sure. Dude, if I would have had those Luminas activated the whole game, I would have steamrolled through some of this shit. It's still a hard game. Like, don't get me wrong, even with the Luminas activated, I had to fight the final boss
Yeah,
like
you have
three
to.
times
Yeah,
to
yeah.
you
You
got
have
to
to.
get those parries down or dodges, whatever you want to use.
It's a thing though that when you told me that, like my mind began wandering as to like other games that you've played. It's like I wonder
Oh
what
yeah.
systems you've overlooked, because obviously
Oh
that's
yeah.
the big difference between us. That's where I'm drawn into CRPGs and stuff because I like that systems based stuff. So I do try to pay attention because there has been things because when we were talking about it as well as while saying don't be so hard on yourself. Like Final Fantasy X kicked my ass because I kind of had that similar mindset to you. I didn't like not interact with the systems. It was basically more so just not bother grinding. So I eventually hit a boss and it was just impossible. Absolutely impossible for me to move on. And it was just like, man, this fucking sucks. Like I've dumped 30 hours into this game and I'm just gonna have to fold, essentially. Or just sit there and grind, grind, grind. And it's just like I don't want to do that right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. But that did make me chuckle. That was
That was so funny.
and as well, of course, it could have been the thing that put a nail in the coffin for the game of like a good feeling because you could have been like this game just is arse in that final part, like this is ridiculous, and then it's like oh
I
no.
love that game. Like, I think even if I wouldn't have been able to beat that final boss, I would have just walked away. Like, kind of how I did with Blueprints, where I'm like, round of applause. You're too good for me, but round of applause. But then, as soon as you tell me, hey, dude, the fucking main skill that you need for the game, you haven't been using for 30 hours. So, but yeah, Seclair Obscure Expedition 33 is probably
Oh, what a game.
it's unbelievable, man. It is unfucking believable. It might end up being my I don't know. I can't say that. Fucking Split Fiction is so good, dude. Well,
mm.
no, don't do the revisionism.
Mm.
We had a blast with that. You just don't like co-op platformers. Uh so let's see. Well, I guess staying on EA, if you want
Mm.
to split from fiction and go to the world of Respawn. Oh man. So it's looking like 100 Respawn employees were just recently laid off, and a total of 400 EA employees, or around 400 EA
Holy shit,
employees.
I didn't notice that. I saw the respawn.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Just a fucking bloodbath. And I guess just to talk about Respawn for a second, they canceled a Titanfall extraction shooter. Which, like, why in the fuck were you making a Titanfall extraction shooter in the first place? Can you think of anything, Loon, where a Titanfall extraction shooter could be interesting?
It's oh, there could be angles that could have made it interesting. Like if it's running off of the pure Titanfall like movement system, it could have been like an interesting take. But this is the thing: is that people are so entrenched in what multiplayer games that they're in. It would have to be the kind of thing of like a Helldivers thing where it really shakes things up and tackles it from a completely different thing. I don't think it was worth wasting their time on there. No.
Yeah, it's Respawn is just so fucking efficient, so productive, releasing because yeah, obviously as well, that's I mean that's the fucking Apex guys.
Yep.
Like they are the breadwinners for EA over there. They released Jedi Fallen Order 2019, Jedi Survivor 2023, so 2020, 21, 22, the 4-year turnaround. I had to count that. Uh, That's why I don't know where to put my luminous points. Um, so, uh, a fucking 4 year turnaround for a game of that scale. While and also, of course, they have multiple, different studios under the Respawn umbrella, but and then keeping Apex supported while also working on a Titanfall thing. And don't forget, they also had that bounty hunter game, that Star Wars
Mm.
bounty hunter game that was canceled. So like they just do so much over there. They got so much cooking constantly, and it's just this is a fucking bummer. This is an absolute bummer, man. That team, uh, you don't want to see layoffs anywhere, but fucking Respawn, like what in the fuck have they done to deserve a layoff?
That's the thing, is that we really, at times like this, we try to apply logic because you look at like Hi-Fi Rush and you think of like, oh, but that garnered such high reviews and stuff like that, and with maybe not so sales. And then when you look over at Respawn, you look at obviously they've done really good sales wise, and the reviews are fairly high for the most part. This industry just hammers home time after time. Like logic doesn't apply in this industry. Even if you are successful, sometimes you still just get the axe because everybody going public traded, they always have to end their year, whatever it is, when they're presenting all their financial earnings, that it has to contain the word growth. And if there isn't that G word there, then you can get out, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and I mean, it's saying here in the article that they're still continuing their efforts on Jedi, the next Jedi game. And once
So that
again,
is getting a sequel.
yep, they are
Okay.
getting a third Jedi game, and obviously Apex is going to continue to be supported. But I'm worried about that third Jedi game, man. I mean, how could you not be? 100 fucking employees get the X. Like, there's no way that there's zero fucking effect, knock-on effect for the next Jedi game. There's no way there's no effect on
It
that.
already had a
You know?
wobbly. It already had a wobbly launch. That's what
Exactly.
people are forgetting as well. Is that it wasn't the smoothest thing. I know you had a fairly smooth for PlayStation, dude.
Yeah.
The fucking Xbox launch was horrendous. It took me what, a year to jump back into that. I heard you sing its praises all year round, and you put it forward as like one of the games that were going to be your game of the year, and I didn't touch it after launch. Apologies for the cat, guys. It apparently likes Final Fantasy.
No,
She
dude, it
has
ended
good
up.
taste.
Oh, that's fucking awesome. But no, it actually ended up being my game of the year in 2023.
Yeah,
Jedi
I didn't want to
Survivor.
put words in your mouth.
No,
I'll let you do
it
that.
did, man. I fucking loved that game. I love that game. I think it's exceptional. But something I'm actually starting to realize, Loon? I think I might be more of a Star Wars fan than I even really understood. Like, I think I have such an attraction to that franchise that I wasn't even aware of until I started watching Andor, where I just lock in with Star Wars stories. Like, I just lock the fuck in, man. I'll get invested in all sorts of shit that I typically do not in stories. Like the really slow, mundane shit, like the just slow politicking. I always compare shit to Kingdom Come Deliverance too. I apologize. But one of my favorite moments in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is like you're infiltrating this like highfalutin sort of political meeting and you're having to just pull off some kind of spy not espionage, but you're kind of spying on the meeting and trying to get information and shit. And like I was so invested just pouring fucking wine for these characters because the information, how they were politicking was so fucking interesting. And I feel the same way while watching Andor. I'm just like every moment, every slow moment, I'm like on the edge of my seat with these characters and these like they're just so well written. And then I don't have to go into a full thing about Andor, but I, I I'm starting to see that I definitely have some Star Wars kind of not bias, but maybe a little bit of Star Wars bias because you even go on to Outlaws, and I loved Outlaws, man, and a lot of people didn't. So I'm starting to think now maybe am I just a mega Star
A
Wars fan in the
closeted Star
closet?
Wars, closeted Star Wars fan. Um, they do make really interesting and like great worlds though to explore.
Yes.
because even that's the thing of like I remember. I think it is such a weird fine line to balance because you obviously had the people
It's just so sweet.
you
Oh,
you had you had the people who did New Hope. No, what was it? New Hope. Revenge of the Sith was a lot. Not the Revenge of the Sith.
Return of the Jedi,
Return of the Jedi. That was it. What was the one between that? Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back. Yeah.
So they did all of them original films, and then when the prequels came out, you had like a weird split. And I think we see that all the time with like the Star Wars fan because they're so passionate about stuff. So any
No.
minor change just gets met with disdain. And like I'm, you know me, I'm all for like fans and stuff like that and diving into the weeds. So I can see why like they really do appeal to you because they make really cool fucking worlds. And
Yeah.
that's the kind of thing of like I'm so gutted we didn't get that Mandalorian game.
Yeah. Right.
Because for me, and this is the thing, you'll always with Star Wars because it's such a wide spanning universe, there's going to be something that really specifically appeals to you. The Mandalorians for me is they're the most interesting faction that's in there. I like the armor. I just like everything that's ever been about them. My favorite character in the original prequels was Jango Fett, even though he's in like
Mm.
one movie. My favorite in the original films, Boba Fett and stuff like that. And I like it's just yeah, they're just the things I look for the most.
Well, guess what, Loon? As I finish my Andor watch, you got to give her some pets. She wants some pets. Um, as I finished my Andor watch, I immediately started up The Mandalorian.
Oh hell
And
yes!
yeah,
Come on,
so
first impressions. Very brief.
um well, to be fair, I finished up and so I totally wrapped up Andor. I finished all of the fucking episodes, total binge session. Um and so I started Mandalorian at like midnight. So I fell asleep pretty quickly, but not because the show was bad at all. I watched the first episode and fell asleep. The first episode is fucking excellent. Such a good, like, a tempo setter. It kind of gets you the idea of the speed of what the show's probably going to provide. I would assume it's much more bombastic, fast paced, but also you got some of your slower, like sit down discussions where you're talking about pricing and discussing the bounties. And okay, this guy, he's off record. You're going to get paid maximum dollar, but it's an off record bounty that you're hunting. And so like there's a lot of cool shit in there. And I'm definitely I can't say I'm definitely gonna watch all of season one. I gotta slow the fuck down with my TV shows though because if I'm watching all these TV shows I'm not playing games, you know. So it's kind of a balance.
The Mandalorian is worth it. Oh man. I still haven't seen season three, but I saw the first two seasons, and it was just there's kind of like misses like some of the episodes like yeah that could have been a little bit better and stuff, but I don't know, man. The it's so weird to call it chemistry because they obviously don't talk to each other, but him and the child's chemistry is just I just love it. It's
Yeah.
just I like the comedic themes that they have building. The action is decent as well for what it is, considering how slow paced some of that stuff is, and then it happily just ramp it up and stuff. Perfect.
Dude. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna keep watching it. I'm gonna because I sent you a picture last night of the game I just started fucking downloading.
Yep.
Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I'm in that pocket. I booted up KOTOR
Mm.
and I started playing. I played like the opening hour of KOTOR and I was like, I can't play a turn-based game right now. And it's not. It's not. Hold up. Give me time. It really isn't anything to do with like the turn-based combat's solid in KOTOR. I was really missing the defensive options. Like I was really missing the ability to parry and dodge and shit. And I was like, okay, let me give my brain some time away from Expedition 33. That way I'm not comparing
Yeah,
everything to
because
it
then there's
because it's not
comparative
fair.
bias. Yep,
Yeah.
fully understand.
And so I was like, well, how about I jump into a nice, and I'm probably gonna play uh Jedi's Fallen Order for a couple hours, and I just want Star Wars. Like right now, I'm just all Star Wars. I might even go and rewatch some of them. No, I'm gonna no, I gotta
No,
chill. I'm
I'm gonna. You say you're gonna scale it back. No, I'm gonna go rewatch the movies. Oh shit! Here we go again.
Mandalorian is priority one right now. I'm gonna finish season one of Mandalorian, and now that because we're right now we're in no, I have no games on my plate. I have Bionic Bay, but I'm like, it's cool. I get it. I don't necessarily need to see it all the way through
You're not
though.
a Doom guy either, right?
I'm gonna play it though because it has a story. This time they're really touting the story
Okay.
in the Dark Ages. I'm sure it's
Mm,
not gonna be great,
I was
but
gonna say. To be fair, all of them reboots have had stories to a degree.
they've never really like marketed. Like that was never a marketing beat,
Hmm. So I'm
you
I'm
know?
interested to see how they pull it off.
Yeah. Well, my friend, we got one more story, but we can kind of axe that one if you want. It's not anything huge. We've been recording for quite some time.
She's just laid down. I got nowhere I can go. My knees, as I
Okay.
said, blown out.
Well, hey, we actually, if you wanna, we'll hit the Cyberpunk story. And as I'm scrolling Twitter right now to see if there's anything that broke, we got actually another big breaking news story. So,
Breaking news.
if we can hit this Cyberpunk one real quick, and then we'll talk about the next one. Um, So yeah, the reports are suggesting that Cyberpunk 2077 is best played in handheld form on the Nintendo Switch 2. So not like a massive surprise, but I think that's pretty fucking cool for people who bought in to the Switch 2. I'm not saying there's a huge audience of Switch 2 players who are going to be picking up Cyberpunk 2077, but to know that it's best played there in handheld form, um I mean that should give you at least some confidence. I haven't played it on a Steam Deck or a ROG Ally, so I don't, maybe it's just awful on Steam Deck and ROG Ally, so that means by default it's slightly
Oh.
better on the Switch too.
Oh, okay. See, where you said that originally, I thought you meant like if you have a Switch 2 and you have the docked mode or the handheld, it plays best in of that too.
Oh, my fault, my
I was
fault.
like, what
Okay.
the fuck have they done there? How have you screwed that up? What the hell are you doing? Okay, that makes much, much, much more sense. It's the best handheld to play Cyberpunk on.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, and that is CD Projekt Red Vice President of Technology Charles Tremblay explains in the video that while at its core, it's the same Cyberpunk 2077 that players already know, the Switch 2 hardware makes it the best handheld version of the game.
okay.
So, yeah. Um, so dude, I mean, I can't, listen, I'm not gonna pick up a Switch 2 to play fucking Cyberpunk. I'm not,
I've had enough
I'm
Cyberpunk 2077 in my lifetime. I'll welcome a sequel, but I don't think I'll ever touch that game again.
Oh, I'm definitely playing it again. I've been yearning to go back to that game, but I want to sit there. I want to play it on a, I'm not an on the go gamer. For my job, like the only time I'm traveling is typically through driving. So like I'm not fucking playing the game while driving, you know what I mean? And I just don't really I don't, and if I'm going on like a little vacation or whatever, I'm not really, unless I'm having to go on a vacation alone for work, which is not often, like the one we just uh which is still a fucking podcast that hasn't come out. It was like recorded 8 months ago. I apologize. We're working on that. We got to figure some shit out. But that's like one of the only situations where like I'm not alone often on vacation. And so if I'm not alone, I'm not, you know what I mean? That's the only time I'm thinking about playing games is if, well, I mean, other than co-op games, but like something like a Cyberpunk 2077, I want to be alone. Like I want to be sitting down with a console and fucking and laying back on the couch or, just kick back and on a big ass TV. Like I don't know. I just can't. And I'm not disparaging the Switch 2. I'm not trying to disparage anything about like it does
It's
seem
just
like that
preference. It's just
console.
preference. It's what needs to be thrown its way is, of course, it's impressive at all that
Yeah.
they've got it running. Because when you, not you, there's a poor choice of words. When we spoke about the Switch One and stuff like that, when we were talking about specific topics related to it and like what they could improve on, and when we were speculating what they could do with the Switch 2. That was one of the big glaring flaws. Their third party, big heavy hitter AAA games usually skip the Switch. You don't have Call of Duty on there and stuff like that. You don't have these heavy hitters that they're the money generators, man. Like I'm sure Nintendo would want nothing more than to scoop whatever the 30% it is that they agree off all of them microtransactions, but they just can't get it to run. And that was also obviously the case with Cyberpunk and stuff like that. So it's great that they've managed to figure it out, and also extra praise thrown their way. It's all on the cart, right? Fully on
Yes.
there.
The whole thing is on
So
the cart.
that's them just again. So the funniest part about it is it's fully on disc on Xbox. It's fully on the cart on Nintendo, and for some reason, PlayStation gets the shortest end of the stick for the first time ever with that. That's the only release I can think of that's done that. That's baffling to me.
I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, but do you remember PlayStation was the only store that pulled
Yeah, no,
Cyberpunk?
I think I said that to you before. I was like,
Oh,
"There's it's
okay.
probably fucking them being." You've seen this before when what do you call it? Nintendo was shunning Capcom for the longest period of time because they had agreed to give them what was it, Resident Evil originally as an exclusive or something,
Mm,
and then obviously went and gave it to PlayStation and stuff like that. So it's that kind of
yeah,
thing of like, yeah, no, companies remember. And obviously they can't turn around
totally.
and go, yeah, we're boycotting you entirely in this day and age. But it's that kind of
Seven.
thing where it's like that's them making the statement is it has to be because they are the easiest place to develop an all on
Right.
disc experience. So that's deliberate. That is a choice. So that's to me that's just hilarious.
That is so fucking funny, dude. And I mean, the thing too is I want to reiterate before we hop out of this because I am negative on Nintendo a lot. I do want to say that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
That's really fucking cool that this thing is complete on cart. And it's also it's a dude, Cyberpunk being complete on cart is a major black eye to these developers because you do not have a game that is more technically impressive on the Switch 2 than Cyberpunk. And if they can get that thing on cart, then all of you other motherfuckers can get a complete copy of your game on cart. So massive shout out to CDPR
Yeah.
and hopefully the game comes out. It's not a total fucking mess. Um, because they have been known to release total fucking messes a time or two
What made me
in the
laugh is
past.
with the statement that you said from the head or whatever it was saying it's the cyberpunk experience you know, and it's like, well, the one I know is 1.0, my friend, on Xbox
No,
One. Probably not the one that I hope you're delivering on.
yeah, we will never forget that CDPR. We will never fucking forget. Um, but yeah, I shout out to Nintendo for putting some horsepower in this thing. Hopefully that more third parties will be able to support it and you know, Nintendo fans will be able to play some of those third party games, which I don't even think most Nintendo fans necessarily care about a lot of that third party content. So we'll see how Cyberpunk does over there.
Yeah, it's gonna be fascinating.
Um,
I want to see how like the sales perform on it.
Walloon, I don't know how quickly you can prepare a trailer, my friend, or how quickly you can pull up a trailer. If you don't, we don't have to play one. It's not
Give me
like
the
the biggest thing in the
name.
Hollowknight Silksong. Would you
Oh
believe it? Would you
Jesus
believe it?
Christ!
What a day we record. What a day we picked to record some news content because the news is a flying as we're sitting here. This is breaking news right
It's
now. We
ready
have,
to go.
let's roll it, big dog. Hollow Knight Silk Song will be playable in September 2025 at an Australian
Oh, for
museum.
fuck's sake. Team Cherry. Jesus Christ. How do you announce your game like 55 different times and it don't come out?
Here we go.
Holy shit.
IGN can reveal the Hollow Knight Silk Song will be playable in an Australian museum in September 2025. Team Cherry's long in development game is one of the most anticipated in the world and has topped the Steam wishlist chart for years. The studio, which is based in Aladia, I apologize, South Australia, has yet to say when Silk Song will be released beyond a vague 2025 window, but we know at least it will be playable for those who can be at Australia's National Museum of Screen Culture, ACMI, from September. 18th. Silksong will be playable at the Melbourne Museum as part of a video game exhibition called Game Worlds, which will also include displays that delve into the game's design and artistic direction. So, uh,
How befitting that it'll be appearing in a museum because it's fucking archaic news at this point. Jesus Christ. Designed by the
oh
dinosaurs,
shit,
played by the Martians. Like, my God.
damn. Bro, that is so fucking funny. Of all the news of Hollow Knight Silksong is it's gonna be playable at a museum. It's like, yep, that's Hollow Knight Silksong. So I guess the only question, dude, if it's playable right now, if people are getting their hands on it, um, do you think that that means it's gonna drop this year? Probably not, still.
I think I have a really, like, I don't know if it's a hot take. I think it's been playable for years. If I'm being 100% honest, this is the type of thing where they just, I think it's just polish, 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 refine, refine, refine. Like, just put it out, man. Like, it's the type of thing where I get sometimes it can be a passion project, and then you take that step back, and then you're like, oh, that could be improved, and then you implement that, and then you take a step back, and it's just we don't live in like, if any game has garnered like the goodwill to if it's even remotely like broken in any state, you guys have such goodwill to the point where people would be willing to give you a chance. Like I know you don't want to tarnish that reputation, but like put the game. It's going into a museum for, like that's never happened before.
Ah.
Like come on, man. That is a choice.
Well, and it's also the thing where three people worked on Hollow Knight, the original Hollow Knight.
Mm-hmm.
So those three people got fucking rich, I would assume. Like
Oh, so they're George R.
stupid,
R. Martin
stupid.
is what you're implying. They're just like, there's no
I,
rush. One pixel
I'm
a
not.
week we will create.
I'm not trying to necessarily say that because I do not know, but like, and listen, this isn't me saying that from the standpoint of somebody who disagrees either. Like, if I got that type of rich, I wouldn't be fucking what?
Nine
Working
to five
60
it.
hours?
Yeah.
You out your fucking mind. Three of us. Hey, the three of us that made it, we're fucking chilling. Y'all will get the game when you get the game if you get the game. And like that's genuinely how I would look at it. I mean, I'm not trying to dude, people work I mean, people work 50 fucking years, 60 years of their life and are miserable for 50, 60 years of their life. If you made something that was so successful that you have the opportunity to not be fucking miserable for a chunk of your life, the rest of your life, like enjoy the fruits of your labor. So I don't know. Maybe that's a very uh fucking hippie standpoint to look at this from, but I don't know, man. I don't I've when it's a big corporation like a Rockstar, a GTA 6, a Take Two, it's like get the fucking game out. What the fuck? But when it's like three people, it's like, we got paid. We're chilling. I don't know, and I know that's a shitty way to look at things, but oh well.
No, I think there are different ways of looking at it though. I get your point. It's just the thing of like for me, I wouldn't say rush them, but it's just the type of thing of like I think there becomes a point where the goodwill and anticipation starts to sour. And it does seem to there have been murmurings every time they do finally poke their head up, and it's just like it becomes a sigh of just come on, man, because they did it at the Nintendo showcase was the last time that they showed anything before this, and it was a short like 2.5 second clip, and it's just like you're treating this as if it's like its first debut indie title, giving it that level. What do you do? Like you can't just drop that in there and just walk away. Like it's like you rile people up on purpose. Maybe it's an Australian
Yeah.
thing. They know what they're doing. They have a
Hey,
sick
dude,
sense of humor.
I will say, and just to be, you know, completely honest, like it does kind of feel, in my opinion, it feels like the hype is starting to
Hmm.
subside a little bit. And so I, you know, maybe it's kind of about time to put your foot on the gas if you really want this thing to sustain that hype. Maybe it's about time to put the foot on the gas, but at the same time, it's like fucking enjoy that
How
damn money, man.
hilarious would it be if they you showed up at that museum and it's just the menu screen? You get to play
Oh
around with
God.
sliders. You can roll credits, guys, from the menu. How cool is that?
Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. Jesus Christ. Well, I guess that's pretty much all of the news. I'll do one more
I was gonna
refresh
say,
to
if there's
see if
anything else, be sure to shout it out. Doesn't take long to
it's
grab these when we don't crash the internet. Somebody,
oh,
nudge, nudge.
Jesus. I can't believe that. Dude, well, hey, I guess that's kind of closing remarks. We're 2 hours in and we haven't had a single internet crash.
No, no crashes. There were, but it's the thing of like it's the usual stuff. There maybe have been like
There's
a very split second where it's like, but that's I don't think we're ever going to get rid of that unless we're in the same room.
no.
So for me, the takeaway is it's been very good audio consistency, and there hasn't been a moment where I've asked you a question and you've stared at me for 15 seconds. So that's an improvement.
Yeah. Yeah, I tinkered with that shit nonstop, and I got it to a point where there were no obstructions. And every time I look at the app, it says that it's online and functional. It's not giving me any like, yellow warning signs or anything like that. So everything is looking good. And I'm going to the stats here. Ping success is 99.9% accurate, very low latency. Like it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Oh
So
yeah,
let's pray that this is going to work. And we can now have crystal clear audio on all of the recordings. Um, we shall see. We shall see. But yeah, this is our kind of new news show format potentially, if you guys like it. Just a rundown of the stories that were for the weekend. Loon and I are gonna discuss behind the scenes and try to figure out a better format for everything going on. You know, eh, yeah, we'll figure some shit out. We'll figure some shit out. There's a lot of tinkering that has to be done. Anytime you make a big change, there's got to be trials and tribulations, trial and error to see what people like. And my big thing is just making sure that the people who constantly tune in are satisfied. So as long as y'all are satisfied, we're happy to drop some content your way.
absolutely.
Well, my friends, Loon, obviously Loon's channel will be in the description for all of you to go and check out Loon's channel. Um, and yeah, stick around. This is Game and Ramble. Subscribe if you like some uh
Some good
whatever the
old
fuck
quality
this is.
rambles about everything, news, games,
You know,
whatever you
news
whatever you want to
reviews.
whatever you want to chat about. We have your back.
And that's kind of the idea too, is like to have a specific news show because we were recording 2 times a week anyway. Typically. So it's like, maybe we could have a news show once a week if these do well, and then the other recording can be more just topics, and if there's something big that breaks that day, that way we can maybe have you know, two to 3 hour shows a week opposed to um, one big 5 hour show where we both leave and our backs are breaking and our knees are aching and all of that. So
Do you mean like
that's
in totality? As in, because obviously we were splitting these up, the long videos into like 20-minute things. Is that going
yeah,
away?
no, no, no. We'll
Okay.
still be doing that
Yeah.
for sure. For
For the topic
because
videos and stuff like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that's kind of what I once again just looking at numbers, I'm like, okay, so there's only so much we can do with news unless it's breaking. Like today would have been a great one to do as just a one just as an Xbox thing. That probably would get some traction. But what I'm going to end up doing is just posting this and just having the same title of like Xbox is raising prices with a thumbnail that's just directed towards the Xbox story. That way it's like it's the thing that is topical. so people can click on it as it's the topical thing. It'll be high in the search engine, hopefully, and then they'll see like a full news show where it's like, okay, well, cool. I like hearing these dudes talk about this, so we'll go in and listen to them talk about these other game news stories as well. So I'm hoping that that's the thing, and then maybe and then whenever we do our other recording, if there's something that breaks that day, we'll separate that as an individual story. If it's something big, and then anything smaller, we'll save for the and it. But this is something you and I should talk about behind the scenes because this is everything is very, very uneven right now. Everything's unbalanced. When we
We're
changed
trying to we're
everything,
trying to find the luminas, guys. We're trying to find the luminas.
dude. So many times I think about this where I'm like, I really wish that someone else was running this fucking channel and I didn't. I can't find the damn Luminas. How the fuck am I supposed to find
Find the
the right
subscribers. There you go.
right? Yeah. So send us your Luminas. Send us your Luminas, and we shall be able to defeat this final boss that is known as the algorithm. So we appreciate you guys. Luna and I are going to shoot the shit behind the scenes. We'll try to figure everything out. But if you do like this format, please send some feedback in the comments because it helps to get it out there to more people. And we just want to try to keep on making shit that you all enjoy. So, yeah, let a friend know, share it with a buddy. If you have a friend who likes gaming news, hopefully this can be a home for people who enjoy gaming news without all the nonsense and
And all the
controversy.
BS.
Yep, for sure. We appreciate you guys, and yeah, stay tuned for more. We'll see you very soon. Goodbye.
See you later.